Very important medical disclaimer. Information provided in this podcast is for educational purposes only and does not substitute for professional medical advice. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment before undertaking a new health regimen. Welcome to the Holistic Health Explained podcast. I'm your host, Shante Fox, and my guest for today's episode is Debbie Z, the owner of Zibu Angelic Symbols. Debbie is an intuitive channel, artist, and author. Her spiritual journey opened up in 2002 when she began channeling beautiful symbols through automatic writing. She was subsequently visited by an angel during a Reiki treatment when she was told that these were angelic healing symbols called Zibu. The angel invited Debbie to create jewelry in the shapes of the symbol to share the messages and energy from the angels. She has been creating Zibu symbol jewelry since that time and has received feedback from clients about their dramatic experiences and healing energy. Debbie has written 3 books about Zibu and created an affirmation card deck featuring the first 88 symbols. She also does channeled readings and energy work to help clients raise their vibration to connect with their angels. Wow, welcome to the show, Debbie.
Thank you
I
very
am
much.
very excited to have you here today. There's a lot to unpack about what you do, but before we dive into that, I want to ask you our icebreaker question. Okay. Can you please share a fun fact, or something that not many people know about you?
Not very many people these days know that I used to be a competitive ballroom dancer, and my late husband was a ballroom dance instructor. So he was a professional, and we would compete as a pro-am couple, and that was my passion when we first met and when we were first married. Uh,
Wow, how fun. Yeah, I'm sure that is something not a lot of people know about you. Do you still get to dance every now and then?
not as often as I did back then. That was pretty much our lifestyle. We danced 6 or 7 nights a week,
Wow.
and that was our main thing that we did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that with us
of
today. Get to
course.
know you a little bit better. So we actually first met when when I first opened Sozo. You came to, I think it was our grand opening, to offer angel readings at henna that day. And I signed up to do a reading with you because at that time I had been experiencing something that I believed to be an angelic presence. And I was hoping you could confirm that for me that day. And you did confirm it with a perfect description of a loved one who had passed on. And I also got a very beautiful Zibu henna tattoo from you that day. So thank you so much for that.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I still get, I just actually told you about a recent time of how I know when there's a presence around me. And I had that confirmation and now I know what it is. Excuse me. So thank you. Um, Over the last few years, you've participated at Sozo as a vendor and a healing partner, and I've had the pleasure of getting to know you very well and your very kind nature. So,
Mhm.
thank you for being part of our family here.
You're very welcome. I love being part of Sozo and just the community of people that are brought together by this space.
Yeah, yes, and thank you so much. So let's just kind of get into it today, what we're here to talk about, which is your Zebu angelic symbols. Can you please explain to us what is Zebu angelic symbols? What are they? And can you share the story of how you first discovered or developed this symbolic language?
Mm. I think it's really pretty fascinating because some people say that they've always been spiritual. They've always been connected with the angels, or that they've always channeled. For me, I feel like I was asleep at the wheel for
Mhm.
many years.
Yeah.
My husband at the time was very intuitive. Our daughter was very intuitive, and I was not until 2002. And I like to do journaling in the morning. And one morning when I was doing my journaling, I would write longhand English, just whatever my thoughts were. I turned the page one morning and I started drawing these beautiful, beautiful fluid symbols. And I drew just one after the next, after the next. At the end of a page, I'd stop and say, oh my gosh, that felt so good. It feels really light. It feels positive, but I have no idea what I just wrote. And I continued to do that every morning for about 2 weeks. And I found it fascinating. It was really comforting, but I didn't know what I was writing. I subsequently went in for a Reiki session with a friend of mine. And it was during that session that I got a lot of answers. I felt really safe and secure being with Laura, and I felt really open energetically. And I found myself talking to an angel. An angel face appeared during the Reiki session. Sort of freaked me out to begin
I was going to say,
with.
has that ever happened to you before?
No.
Okay.
And I told Laura, I said, someone is here and she's talking to me. And Laura said, well, then quiet down and listen to what she's saying.
Okay.
So I pulled myself together, calmed down, and this face was just like a hologram floating above me. And it was just a face. It was exquisite. Looked like one of those marble sculptures in Italy, this
Okay.
beautiful, serene face. But she spoke to me. It wasn't male or female, but I say she. It was really soft energy. She said, Dear Debbie, what you've been drawing are angelic healing symbols. These are called Zibu. And then she wrote it in the air, Zibu. So I heard it and I saw how it was spelled. She said, this is an angelic healing language, and we invite you to create jewelry in the shapes of these symbols, and that'll be your voice to share these messages with mankind. That was a big message to take in a short amount of time. And so after the Reiki session, I'm sure my eyes were enormous. It's like, oh my gosh, what just happened? Should I even tell anybody this happened? This is really far out there, even for me. And so I went home, and with a pendulum, I confirmed everything. Is this true and accurate? Yes. How about this? Is this statement true and accurate? Yes. So I confirmed everything and realized what I need to do is start creating jewelry in the shapes of these symbols. But I need to find out what the symbols meant first.
Right.
So late at night, after my husband would go to bed, my daughter would go to bed, I'd take my journal with me out to the living room, and I'd sit with these pages and I'd say, okay, I trust you. What do you want to tell me about these symbols? What's the message? What do they mean? And one by one, a symbol would get illuminated from behind and sort of raise off the paper. And this whole thing was just wild. And I would touch it. And this is when I used a pendulum to verify. I'd say, is this it? Yes. What does this one mean? And softly I'd hear the word whispered, joy or happiness or balance. Whatever the word was, it was very soft, it was very distinct. And I would start taking notes. So I'd redraw that symbol and I'd say, this is a symbol? Yes. It means joy? Yes. What do you want to tell me about it? And I'm a former executive secretary, so I know shorthand.
Okay.
This seemed very similar. It felt familiar, conveying a message through symbols. So I sat and I did more automatic writing. I took dictation. I felt like dictation from on high, like not just a CEO of a company, but like the
Yes.
source, universal consciousness, angels, whatever you want to use. And I would write these messages out. And after I would reread them, after writing them, I knew that's not my vocabulary. This was coming through me. This was not me writing this. So I started categorizing all of these and cataloging them. And I was making jewelry in the shapes of these symbols as they asked. And I made them in silver wire, because it lends itself to these curly Q fluid lines. And as I would make the jewelry and hand it to people, I saw these amazing responses from people. Sometimes people would just hold it in their hand and stare at it, or they would start crying, or they would just get emotional. And my first thought was, did I do something wrong?
Yeah, right.
But it was the energy coming through and them feeling it in their heart and in their soul. So that's how it started, and that's what I've continued to do. I've continued to make jewelry to this day.
So had you been making jewelry prior to this?
I was working as an executive assistant in different roles, different companies, and I did jewelry on the side just for fun.
So you knew how to make jewelry, so it wasn't like that just came with this, so they kinda knew like, "Oh, we know what to task her with. She knows how
Exactly.
to do this."
Well, it's
Okay.
interesting because I had been an executive secretary where I had used shorthand at one time. I also did calligraphy at one time. So these skills that I had
All came
collectively
together.
all came together so that
Wow.
I could express these symbols.
So now, how long did it take you before you shared this with anybody?
I had a group of spiritual friends, a spiritual circle. We would meet once a week and we'd compare stories about what we were going through or what we were experiencing or what we learned. And we could help each other validate. I'm getting that this happened. And can you confirm this or can you validate this? So we all supported each other. So I shared within that group and they were very receptive. Then I started venturing out to the general population
Yeah.
and got the same really positive responses. And I signed up to do body, mind, spirit expos. And I'd have a table, I'd be a vendor, and I'd have my jewelry all out on display. What I thought was fascinating is that people would come to the booth, and some people would hold their hand, palm down, over the jewelry and run it over all of the jewelry lined up. And I'd say, "What are you doing?" And they'd say, "Oh, I'm just feeling the energy." So the energy is there and it's palpable if you're aware of energy or if
Yeah.
you're already a Reiki practitioner. Um, so people were aware of it, but even if you don't feel the energy, it's there. And what I like to tell people is that the symbols they are a key to connect with your angels. So what I'm creating is sacred jewelry in the shapes of these symbols to help people to connect with their angels. And it raises your vibration.
Yeah. So are there other angelic or symbolic languages that exist?
Yes. And generally they're referred to as light language or language of light. And they can come from different um, different entities or different groups. I don't know quite how to explain it. I've seen people channel light language that's from the Pleiades or from different star systems. Mine are specifically from the angels and specifically called Zibu.
Okay.
So I haven't heard anyone else refer to their language as a specific name, but this is what
Okay.
the angel brought me. So this is what I share.
Okay.
Yeah.
In your work as an intuitive, how do you connect and receive information from the angelic realm?
Mm. I feel like the angels are always with us. They're always with us. Before I start doing a reading for someone, I say I'm going to call in the angels, which is not really true because they're already here, but I acknowledge the angels, ask them to surround us with Spirit's golden white light. So I set the tone of saying, this is our sacred space, and I open up to be able to hear and see and feel what the angels are bringing through. If I'm doing a reading for someone, that's what I do. When I go in my art studio to create jewelry, that's what I do as well. I'm
Okay.
very careful about the energy in my studio. I spray sage, I pray and meditate
Yeah.
beforehand and set the stage. So it's all really positive and high vibration.
Yeah. I imagine that you have to really keep your energy level and your vibration up high to be able to receive these messages. Is there ever a time where you haven't been able to connect, and
Mm.
maybe because of that reason?
I've had some times like that where I have felt disconnected, and it's usually because of a health issue or an emotional issue going on for me. So it's been short lived, and I've just had to write it out and realize
Mhm.
that this is something that will pass. I'm always connected, whether I can hear or not. And it's something that passes, and
Yeah.
then I work with the symbols, I write every morning, I draw symbols every morning, and that helps to strengthen that bond.
Okay. How have the Zebu symbols been used for healing or personal growth and spiritual development by the people who do um, choose to work with them?
Oh, that's really interesting. I see my role as helping other people to connect with their angels. So I'm providing them a tool to raise their vibration and connect with the angels. I've done readings for other people. I wanted to share with you this about a healing that I did. I didn't do the healing, but I brought the healing energy through when I saw my friend in Portland. Gail had had both hips replaced,
Okay.
and even after her surgery, she was still limping and she was still having problems. She was doing physical therapy, but it should have healed by then. And I said, well, I can take a look. I can ask the angels to come in and bring you some healing energy. So I had her sit in front of me. She had her palms down, her hands on her lap. Her palms were down. And while I was sitting across from her, I closed my eyes, invited the angels in, and I drew the symbol for optimum health and for healing. And I infused that energy, or had the energy infused into her through me. And I don't know how long that went on for, but when I was finished, I opened my eyes and I looked at Gail, and her hands were probably about 10 inches above her lap, as if she had moved her hands to get them out of the way. That's what I thought.
Okay.
And I said, you didn't have to move your hands. The energy would go through your hands to your hips. She said, I didn't do that. My hands were pushed up. The energy I could feel, and my hands automatically moved up. So they were
Wow.
just floating up there. But what's interesting is that in the days after that treatment, her hips started improving dramatically, and she got to a point where she was walking really smoothly once again. So I don't claim that I'm doing healing energy, but I'm a conduit, and I bring this healing energy through me for the person I'm working with. So
Awesome.
that made a tremendous difference for her.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what are some of the real benefits to working with the symbols?
Well, the main thing is that it enhances your alignment with the angels. And the angels reside at this top of the energetic scale. So at the highest vibration is unconditional love and joy and gratitude. That's where the angels reside. When you're feeling depressed or angry or frustrated, those are heavier, lower vibrational
Right.
energies. And so the symbols, either drawing them or wearing them, like the jewelry, or even just being in the vicinity of these symbols, helps to raise your vibration so that you're vibrating up with the joy and happiness and these higher vibrations. That makes it easier to connect with the angels. I found that the symbols help people finding stability in times of stress, or it brings clarity when you're feeling confused. They also promote balancing your energy to promote your health. I think a great one is that it helps your heart to remember your divine purpose in this lifetime. So there's many, many benefits. Um, those are the main ones that I can think
Okay.
of right now.
And it seems to be an easy thing for people to incorporate into their life because you've brought together some tools that people can keep with them at all times or at home. You don't necessarily have to leave to go have a treatment done or something
Mhm.
like that in order to benefit from working with the symbols, right?
That's absolutely right. I feel like my role is to help create tools to help people to connect with their angels. So you already said I've written 3 books
Mhm.
about Zibu. My first book was in 2007, and I have 88 symbols, the first 88 symbols. I'm continuing to get
Are
more,
you? Wow.
but the first 88 are in this book, and I tell about the Reiki session, about automatic writing, and then 88 symbols, a more expanded channeled message about them, and stories about people's experiences, and my experiences I share in that book. Then I've also created an affirmation deck. So the same 88 symbols, but it's in a card format, and there's
Mhm.
a simple, very basic affirmation. So you can use the cards to trace the symbols. You can repeat the affirmation. You can even prop up a selection of cards and just have it in your space, your living space. So there's so many ways to connect with the energy. The angels told me initially, people can benefit by either holding or be holding the symbols. And I liked that
Yeah.
phrase because you can either hold them, wear them, or even spend time looking at them.
Okay. Yes, very easy.
It is.
Yes. So would you say there are any common misconceptions or misunderstandings about channeling and working with the angelic energies?
Any common misconceptions?
Misunderstandings that you come across, people, the naysayers, we could call it that if you
Oh,
like.
oh, like, how do you know it's the angel speaking through
Right. Do
you,
you
or
come
are
across
you
when
making
people
this?
are like, this is not what you say it is?
I rarely have that happen. I rarely have that happen.
Good.
People feel the positivity, and everything about the angels is very soft, it's very gentle, it's uplifting and positive,
Mhm.
and the messages are brought through that way. So I know I've had other readings done for me where people have said that they were psychics or they were whatever their title is. And some of the messages have been clearly lower vibrational, um, almost frightening messages or
Mhm.
warnings about beware of this or beware of that. I don't come across any of those kind of messages. Everything that comes through is full of encouragement and love.
Right.
And that's the whole purpose of doing the readings. And when I do readings for people, I use my own affirmation deck. I use that, I shuffle that, I'll pull cards, and I'll read the affirmation for my client, but I'll also expand upon it based on whatever I'm getting in the moment or what I end up direct channeling at the time. So people have responded really favorably. I don't think I've had too many naysayers.
That's good. I think that might have a lot to do with you too, because you do come off very soft and gentle and loving and caring and coming from a genuinely good place. I can say that because I've spent some time around you.
Mm. Thank you. That's interesting that you say that
Yeah.
because I've worked in the corporate world many years before 2002, and I even worked in a law firm for a while, and I was always told, "Oh, Deb, you're just too thin-skinned. You gotta toughen up." And I was thinking, "Do I need to toughen up so that you could still be not so nice to me?"
Yeah.
But it's that sensitivity that has allowed me to bring this energy through. I
Right.
know I've been told I need to speak louder. I've got a soft voice. That's who I am. That's what the
Hmm.
energy is that comes through me. So it just took me a while to find out what my real purpose is.
Right. Same here. So I understand. What would you say has been the most rewarding aspect of sharing the symbols or your gifts with the world?
The most rewarding. You know, I'm just absolutely thrilled to be able to do readings for people. That is my favorite thing. I love making jewelry. I love doing the other things, but to actually do a reading one on one for someone
Mhm.
and to have them say, "Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I needed to hear," or "I was wondering about that. I wasn't really sure, and now I have the confirmation." I mean, I'm getting goosebumps as I say that
Yeah.
because I hear that a lot, and I know it's not about me. It's not my message. It's me being a conduit to allow this to come through me, and it just makes me feel so good knowing there's something I can do that's making a positive difference in the world. That's
Yeah.
what really brings me joy.
Beautiful. Well, if you could share one key piece of wisdom or guidance from the angels through the Zebu language, what would it be today?
Hmm. I would just remind people that your angels are always, always with you. You can call on them at any time. There's no specific words you need to use, no specific incantation. They're always with you, they're always listening, but we all have free will. And the angels are not going to barge in and say, "Oh, you're making a mess of things. Let us take over." We have free will. So the angels patiently await us to call upon them, and they always hear us. So the angels remind you that you're so very dearly loved, and the angels are there to help and support you anytime you ask.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Well, this has definitely been an enlightening topic, as I'm sure not a lot of people are even familiar with what you do and the symbols and how they can be used for their own healing or self care process in general. So, thank you a lot for coming and breaking that down for us today. Can you tell our listeners how they can find you for more details on what you offer, or if they want to connect with you for reading or more information?
Yes, I have a newly revised website that I think looks absolutely beautiful now. It accurately reflects what I do, and it is zibuangelicsymbols.com, and it's Zibu, Z-I-B-U. And I'm on Instagram. I post very regularly on Instagram, and on Sundays I do Zibu Live. So it's an Instagram Live where I do readings for half an hour. Use my
Yes.
deck and I pull cards and I do readings for people online. So those are the main ways to get in touch with me.
Okay, and I'll write that out in the notes also, so people can see your website and have a way to get in touch with you if they would like to get more information.
That sounds lovely.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with us today?
Those are the main things that I wanted to share. I'm really passionate about the work that I do, and I'm just so pleased that I can do the work that I do and make a positive difference for people.
Yes, so thank you for that and sharing your light with everybody around the world. I know you have followers everywhere,
Uh,
right, all across the world. So I'm sure everybody thanks you for that. So thank you again for coming on the show today. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in to this episode of Holistic Health Explained. I am your host, Shantae. Be well, my friends.